Drama struck the MotoGP paddock once again, this time originating from the Ducati garage. The 2025 Czech Republic MotoGP free practice session ended in chaos. Marc Márquez set the fastest time in wet conditions, while his teammate, Francesco, Bagnaia, fell out of the top 10 and failed to qualify for Q2. Is Ducati facing an internal crisis after Marquez dominated the wet Czech track while Bagnaia failed to advance to Q2? Let's discuss. The main free practice session at the Brno circuit opened with weather drama. Heavy rain had been lashing the track since morning, forcing marshals to delay the session by 20 minutes for safety reasons. The slippery and unpredictable track presented mental and technical challenges for all riders. Most riders opted for caution, trying to understand tire grip on the waterlogged asphalt. But not Marc Márquez, while others adapted to the conditions. Márquez appeared like a predator, scenting blood. He took to the track with confidence and brutal speed. Marco Bezzecchi had set an early benchmark time of around 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Several big names, such as Joan Mir, Jorge Martin, and Jack Miller, were competing for first place, showcasing their abilities amidst the spray from their tires. But as the session entered the 30th minute, the tension turned to stunned silence. Marquez exploded. With an aggressive yet controlled style, he set a time of 2 minutes, 3.935 seconds, significant improvement over his rivals. That time was not only the fastest, but it also remained untouched until the end of the session when the checkered flag was waved. Once again, while the others were still trying to catch up, Marquez was already far ahead. Meanwhile, Francesco Bagnaia performed far below his usual level, as if he were just a shadow of the world champion we know. In unpredictable track conditions, he made repeated attempts at time attacks at the end of the session. However, his efforts were fruitless. Instead of breaking into the top spot, he fell outside the top 10 and failed to qualify directly for Q2. Now, he must start the tough battle in Q1 in tomorrow's qualifying session, situation rarely experienced by a rider of his caliber. Worse, Alex Marquez, Marc Márquez's younger brother who crashed earlier in the day, recovered and set a time good enough for 9th place. Meanwhile, Bagnaia faced a harsh reality. He had been knocked out of the elite group and lost momentum. At a crucial moment, it wasn't just about the result, it was a warning sign for the reigning champion, who was under pressure in an increasingly tight season. Former MotoGP racer and legend, Dani Pedrosa, was left speechless by Marc Márquez's extraordinary performance. In the 2025 season, in an exclusive interview with Motosan, Pedrosa openly admitted that what Marquez had shown wasn't just a comeback, but a second life that many never imagined. There's not much more to add. The numbers speak for themselves. After a dark period following his 2020 crash, Marquez is back and even more terrifying than before. According to Pedrosa, Marquez's confidence, sharp racing instincts, and speed seem to have returned to their former glory or even surpassed it. Pedrosa, Marquez's former teammate at Honda, said he fully understands the difficult mental and physical journey Marquez has endured. Seeing him dominate again with Ducati is a miracle in itself. In fact, Pedrosa believes that Marquez's 8th world title is only a matter of time. Given his near-perfect performance and brutal consistency in every race, Pedrosa believes Marquez could clinch the title early, even before the Australian MotoGP. No one can compete with him now, Pedrosa concluded, as if not wanting to reiterate the obvious. Marc Márquez has returned as the absolute king of MotoGP. Marc Márquez's brilliant performance in Germany was undeniable proof of his talent. At the Sachsenring circuit, which he calls his kingdom, Márquez swept the sprint and full races, scoring his 69th victory in the Premier class and breaking Giacomo Agostini's legendary record of 68 victories in the 500cc Grand Prix. With 95 Grand Prix wins, Márquez is now the third most successful rider of all time, behind only Rossi 115 and Agostini 122. Of those 95 wins, 69 have come in the MotoGP class, placing him second only to Rossi. The most important thing is to keep having fun. When I enjoy racing, anything is possible, said an emotional Marquez after the Sachsenring race. His words suggest that he has returned to where it all began, pure passion for racing. Before the main race, The sprint race presented an extraordinary battle as well. Marquez had a fierce battle with Marco Bezzecchi on a wet track. They exchanged positions several times, but on the final lap, Marquez's maneuvering once again demonstrated his skill. He overtook Bezzecchi and maintained his lead until the finish line. Meanwhile, Bagnaia finished in 12th place, far behind the top three and performing below expectations once again. Marquez's extraordinary achievements, coupled with Bagnaia's slump, sparked a major debate in the paddock. Had Ducati effectively become Marquez's team? Gigi Dall'Igna, the technical director and longtime mastermind behind Ducati's success, was absent from the Sachsenring due to personal matters. Nevertheless, his absence did not prevent him from being involved. He gave specific instructions, but only to Marquez. In an interview, Marquez said jokingly but meaningfully, "He called me and said, 'Be careful on the descents. The rest of you, do what you want.' And the result? Marquez performed exceptionally well and dominated completely, as if he were the unofficial owner of the red team from Bologna." Meanwhile, Pecco Bagnaia, the reigning champion and symbol of Ducati's long-term project, suddenly looks like a shadow of himself. His inconsistent performance, repeated small mistakes, and the mental pressure caused by Marquez's presence are slowly eroding his confidence. Many are beginning to question whether his status as Ducati's #1 rider is still worth maintaining. Has a new era truly begun with Marquez as the team's center of gravity? With 7/6 points, Marc Márquez is now atop the 2025 MotoGP rider standings. He's not just leading, he's dominating. He has an 83-point lead over his younger brother Alex Marquez, who is in second place. And what about Francesco Bagnaia? The reigning champion is falling further and further behind, seemingly unable to escape his teammate's shadow. With each passing round, the gap between the two riders widens. If this extraordinary trend continues, an 8th world title for Marquez will no longer be just a possibility, it will be an inevitability. The 2025 season is shaping up to be the stage for Marquez's spectacular comeback. Once considered finished and irrelevant, he has re-emerged as an undeniably dominant force, rewriting history and breaking the limits of human capabilities. He has reasserted his place at the pinnacle of MotoGP. Every race he wins sends a message that the king has returned and that his power is more absolute than ever. However, Marquez's dominance is casting an increasingly dark shadow over Francesco Bagnaia. The reigning champion seems lost, overshadowed by his teammates' success and mired in an increasingly difficult-to-overcome performance crisis. Era has arrived, and it seems the king is no longer Bagnaia. Can Ducati balance these two enormous egos on one team? Or will they recognize Marquez as their new pillar and future? Leave your thoughts below.